What emerging trends in agriculture and rural development excite you the most for the other decade?
See, one thing I'm pretty much convinced today in the last 11 years since the advent of the Startup India initiative, the country is today the largest one of the third largest startup destinations in the world, with almost 1.6 lakh startups registered under the Startup India initiative. And all of these startups are being nurtured by a large community of 850 incubators. And I also clearly see that there are so many rural based incubators coming up. So when we talk about agri and rural innovations, definitely the country saw a large splurge of agri-tech startups and technology startups overall, but still there is a need of emerging student and rural companies. Since we have to increase more student and rural companies, I see a lot of role that ACIC's Atal Community Innovation Centers in general, funded by the Niti Aayog, or very particularly the ACIC in CBIT, has a role to play. Now, since the country has a lot of rural youth participating in the startup journey, whether it be a technology company or a rural company, the idea is, since the emerging rural incubators are also shaping up, the rural incubators can be an important pivot and important strength for the rural entrepreneurs to build these community innovations, community enterprises, build grassroots innovator communities. They have a role to play in building food processing, micro food processing enterprises. And last but not least, there is also a role for technology skilling. For example, there could be examples of rural youth engaging in drone flying or drone skilling. The rural youth can also be engaged in, let's say, repair or management and services of IoTs or robotics in agriculture and rural areas. There could be also opportunities of the rural livelihood through technologies. And I also see the micro food processing could also be a game changer for rural youth and women particularly. So definitely I'm confident that given that the rural incubators are increasing and the participation of rural youth and students are as game changers is just started, I believe that in the time to come there will be a lot more student and rural communities solving the rural issues. And more so importantly, the community-led innovation model, which the Niti Aayog, the Atal Community Innovation Centers are focusing on, will be a game changer, because these 60 plus Atal Community Innovation Centers across India are trying and build innovation community in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So which is very interesting. So, and they're also touching upon the aspirational districts. So I'm very hopeful that the last 10 years, what the country saw as a startup ecosystem and the innovation ecosystem is now going more into rural areas through grassroots communities and these kind of community centers.